Chris, thank you. One of Louisiana's most powerful judges is taking a newspaper and its former editors to trial Monday.
State Supreme Court Justice Jeff Hughes claims the Times-Picayune New Orleans Advocate defamed him, but the newspaper denies that. And the paper says it's a rush job, preventing it from defending itself fully because it's blocked from accessing a secret disciplinary case that it believes involves Hughes until after the defamation trial.
WWL Chief Investigative Reporter David Hammer has the backstory.
The Nicholsons say they wanted Hughes off the case.
In 2019, WWL's Katie Moore interviewed Brenda Nicholson about a custody case presided over by then Livingston Parish Judge Jeff Hughes, and a story Nicholson said she was forced to keep quiet while voters elected Hughes twice to the Louisiana Supreme Court.
He hurts people, and he does it through the power that he has and the position he has.
In 1998, Nicholson's son was fighting to keep primary custody of his son, Austin. Austin's mother's new husband was facing criminal child abuse charges for allegedly scalding the boy. And that's when Nicholson said she learned the mother's lawyer in the custody case, Berkeley Durbin, who was also defending Austin's stepfather in the criminal case, was dating Judge Hughes.
He said no, he wasn't going to recuse himself. We told him we knew about him in Berkeley, and we didn't think that it was right that he would be the judge in the case.
The district attorney and other witnesses later confirmed Durbin and Hughes' relationship. Durbin withdrew from the custody case in August 1998, and 4 days later, Hughes allowed Austin's mother to share custody with Austin's father. In March 1999, Hughes ordered Austin transferred to the mother's care, allowing supervised contact with his stepfather, who later pleaded no contest to abusing the boy.
How could you want to put a child back in a home with a person who has done something so serious to a 4-year-old child?
5 years later, Hughes apologized to Nicholson, writing that justice suffered because of his actions. That custody case became the basis of a 2019 Advocate editorial. Hughes says it defamed him by blurring the timeline of Durbin's role. He sued the paper in 2020. WWL and the Advocate's reporting had also revealed that Hughes was the subject of previously undisclosed FBI and judicial discipline investigations. The Advocate later found Hughes wrote 2 more apology letters and also reported on a separate 2019 election controversy.
A former council member in Hammond claimed that Jeff Hughes wrote out an affidavit by hand saying that Jeff Hughes had offered him $5,000 to switch his endorsement in a judicial race.
The Judiciary Commission did not find Johnny Blunt's allegation that Hughes offered him a payoff to be substantiated. But Hughes acknowledged telling Blunt he could earn more by working for the opposing campaign. Hughes also acknowledged that his conduct and the resulting news coverage had brought the judiciary into disrepute. The Louisiana Supreme Court publicly censured him in 2021.
I'm being sued by a Supreme Court Justice, Jeff Hughes, and my case goes to trial Monday. And based on the filings in the case, I do believe that there is a secret Judiciary Commission inquiry into Justice Hughes's actions in this case.
Scott Sternberg, one of the newspaper's attorneys, states in court filings that he filed another Judiciary Commission complaint against Hughes. Because commission proceedings are confidential, the public record does not establish whether the commission opened an investigation. But just last month, public court records show the Supreme Court, with Hughes recused, decided to let a confidential party delay a Judiciary Commission case from July until August 31st. Kovacs said he believes that confidential party is Justice Hughes. And the newspaper argues in court filings it's being deprived of due process because it won't be able to learn about the disciplinary case until after the defamation trial, which begins Monday.
And I don't mind going to trial. I believe in the jury system, but under these circumstances, we're being asked to go to trial with one hand tied behind our back because we're being deprived of knowable information.
In his lawsuit, Hughes alleges the newspaper, and Kovacs specifically, refused to correct errors, even after Hughes met with editors and told them a different lawyer was representing the mother when Hughes granted the mother custody. The newspaper later posted an editor's note to the online editorial clarifying that Durbin withdrew before Hughes' final ruling and that child welfare advocates objected shortly after that ruling. Did the newspaper report things about Hughes that weren't true, knowingly?
No.
We asked Hughes and the Supreme Court about the latest Judiciary Commission case. Hughes and his attorneys did not respond. The Supreme Court declined to discuss the matter, citing the Commission's confidentiality rules.
They're writing the rules, and then they're telling you that the rules don't allow them to respond. Well, they can write different rules if they wanted to. And, at various times, legislators have tried to get them to write different rules, not very successfully.
Brenda Nicholson said those same rules once forced her to stay quiet about Hughes' apology letter, even as he ran for and won the highest judicial office in Louisiana.
District judge to whatever judge to now appellate court judge. All this time I couldn't say anything.
And it's the reason Kovacs says the public should be concerned when an elected official sues journalists using the very court system he helps oversee. David Hammer, WWL, Louisiana.
Full disclosure here, Scott Sternberg represents David and WWL in a separate case unrelated where we are suing a government agency for public records. Now, David also worked for Peter Kovacs when he was at the Times-Picayune more than 14 years ago. And as you saw in this story, I did report on Hughes' actions in the Nicholson case back in 2019 in partnership with the advocate. But Hughes sued the newspaper over an editorial that WWL was not involved in. And Hughes has never challenged our reporting.